game week after what you've seen out of your team over the last 7 months? What's it like for you?
Yeah, I think I'm like everybody. I'm excited to see where we are. I think we've had a good camp as a football team, offensively and defensively. It's been very competitive. I think Coach Brennan's done a good job of really merging this team and building a culture of we're going to practice hard and we're going to play with an edge about us. And so I'm excited to see where we are.
Michael and Brian. Football program announced a bunch of hires this week for different roles in the front office and whatnot. And one of them was one of your children, your son. What can you tell us about him, his background, and what his role is going to be for you guys?
Well, he's the youngest of five, and he had thought about this for a while. He had opportunities when he was done playing at the University of Hawaii to go with Rolovich and then to go with Greg Stutzman, who's also, ventured off and is now at San Jose State, and G.J. Kinney, who is his quarterback coach, then went off to Central Florida. He's now the head coach at Texas State. So he had opportunities to coach, but he loved being back in the islands. He loved being around his nephews and nieces. And he had a good job with the airlines, but he started thinking about making, he's at that 26-year-old, maybe making a move, and when this opportunity came up, because he's always wanted to be in personnel, the coaching thing, and so when this was, because he had reached out to a number of NBA teams, to get into the front office in basketball. And that is, as we know, young coaches, you hear no a lot more than you say yes. And he interviewed, and he got it on his own. So I'm proud of him.
Brian and Matt.
How valuable has it been having someone with head coach and defensive coordinator experience on your staff in Danny Gonzalez?
Yeah, Danny, I didn't know. I knew of Danny because, when we were here, me, Rich, and Rocky Long, they had a kind of we all had a unique system, and so we used to visit quite a bit. I've known of Danny's reputation, but I never knew him personally. And he's got a great reputation as a football coach, out in the coaching community. So then when I had a chance to get together with him, he's been a great addition, somebody that I can bounce some ideas off with the front. We're very similar in being aggressive defensively. So it's really been a good blend. And then with Joe Siomalu and RC, who really trained, I just had him in my room a year ago that really kind of understood our language and our system. And Coach Viney has come in. It's really an outstanding defensive staff, I think, which, to me, growing up under Coach Tomey, he used to always say, never hire an idea, you hire people. And I think Coach Brennan has done really a nice job with this staff of blending people that we're all moving in the same direction. I think we all understand if this football team's successful, we all are successful. You got your titles, you financially, it all works out for everybody. So it's been really a pleasure to work with Danny and the rest of the staff.
Matt and Justin.
You coach a lot of elite defensive backfields, but how rare is it to come out of fall camp with this mix of guys that have really accomplished a lot at this level and also depth too?
Yeah. So I really thought by the end of the year our secondary was really playing well, and and then what was nice is the heart of it called Dalton's, Stooks, Gunner, and Bobo have not stood still. They continue to work to grow their game, and I always talk about a standard. And for me, you have to coach the best players the hardest because they've never finished. I don't care if you become a 10-year pro, you're still going to learn in this game. This game is always moving forward. So having the ability to have really good players that have had some success is yet still allowing you to coach them hard, because as they go, the room chases them because they all want to be the starter. And I've had that since I was here the first time, And so they've really raised the level of the room, which has improved the younger players to chase them. And they've really all bought into the intellectual side of the game. Me moving to offense, where I had my heels in the ground with Dick, but he kept wanting me to move. But now I teach from an offensive perspective, you know, so it's a class, so we understand offensive theory as much as anything, and they've really bought into the mental side of the game. And now that's what Bobo, many times corners don't buy into that. They've just been great athletes. Tell me what to do, safeties. You know, where I say, you don't want your paycheck in their mouth. You know, you want to know what to do. So if you are blessed to go to the Senior Bowl or to get to the Combine where you have that 15-minute interview, that's a job interview. You want to be able to express offensive theory about how routes relate, how this release can tell you what this guy is doing. And so it's wonderful that they've bought into that. And the older guys are the ones that have really set the example.
Justin and Jason. How was it coaching Chris McAllister at Arizona? What about him was the standard cornerback?
Oh, man, Chris Mack was different. I've coached a lot of great ones now, but Chris Mack was just different. The number one thing and the common thread with all the great ones I've coached, it hasn't been height, it hasn't been speed. Those are all different, but it's a competitive spirit, and nobody was more competitive than Chris. I mean, he was at that elite, and you know, I've had a couple others, but I have used him. When I left here, I brought all of Chris's one-on-ones tapes. I have this thing, I don't know if you guys have heard, you know, I built these gold reels that this is what it looks like. And many times, I'll just take an individual's best one-on-ones where he wins every single time. I just took Chris's whole spring going into his senior year, every rep he had. And it's Dennis Northcutt, it's Jeremy McDaniels. I mean, these are all NFL players that he is just absolutely locking up. And then you see into about play 9 or 10, Brandon Nash, okay, catches this 10-yard comeback stop route where he ends up catching it at 6 yards. And you just see Chris running off the screen, and he just snaps his chin strap off because somebody caught a 6-yard stop route on him in one-on-one, you know, when there's no pass rush. But that's what made him elite. Now, you throw in 6'2", 208, run 4.3 low, 3 years, 22 interceptions. And now my whole senior year when, you know, Chris could have come out early, but at that time, if you weren't a top 10 pick, so, you know, we decided to come on back. And so everything was built for him to be at the point of attack. So when we played David Boston, he had him one-on-one. And I took the middle safety that way, the whole, to keep him involved. When we played Cade McNown that year, you do a hit chart, 83% of the throws were from the left guard over for Cade. So we just played him at right corner because they had Paulie Dixon and Freddie Mitchell. And sure enough, it was going to be interesting to see what McNown did. Well, he threw to his right side. He threw away from Chris. He had his worst statistical day, you know, his senior year. But that's what Chris Mack could do. It just changed the game, you know, as a dominant corner. So he is fun, and we had really a close relationship while he was here.
Jason and Troy.
2 questions for you. Number one, what do you see from New Mexico's offense?
You know, I see a very, very talented quarterback that, you know, looks like he's got a nice throwing motion, but his legs is what's concerning to us, so we got to take that out. I think they do a good job with a lot of their formationing and getting into some unbalanced things, and then there's a lot of misdirection which will challenge your eyes. And so we're really working hard on that. And, you know, as you saw, there's some big plays. They have big play potential. 15 does a really nice job of getting vertical. And so, you know, obviously they put up a lot of points on a good football team there. So it's going to be a good challenge for us coming into the opener.
And then you've spoken very highly of Brett Arcee in the past. What is it about him that makes you trust him so much, and that why I think you've called him a superstar? You know, we have to keep him.
Yeah. So Arcee, I've been around a lot of really young coaches. You know, I can drop some names on you. And he kind of falls into that category. I think, first of all, his work ethic, just outstanding work ethic. And I think very early on, he kind of knew how I teach. And this isn't to be egotistical because we're all got our own ways of doing things. But he was able to understand, and he comes from some good coaching background ahead of him. But what I look for, he picked up the language very quickly, and that was one reason I had all the corners and safeties and nickels get back in one room after, I think it was the SC game, because I've never been around a corners coach, a nickels coach. I think the secondary, they have to hear one voice. And I think I might have used the example in here. It would be like an offensive line coach telling the tackles, go with a tackle coach, guards go here, center go there. Communication is just too important. So he speaks the same language, but what really got me, like when we were putting together scripts, and say we would be playing SC, because he's been in this conference, he says, hey, coach, because of what we are doing, SC ran this, against us in 2016. And he'd go back and grab that play, just very thorough, because you got to be back there because you never know what you're going to get. But he could understand that this might be a way to attack whatever we're playing that week. So he was able to think ahead, which is, I think that's a gift in this profession, that you got to just be able to solve the puzzle, as I say,
Last question to Troy.
Two of them kind of following the RC question there. Is that kind of what makes him, because we heard, I think it was Jacob Manu say that he was going to be the coach with the headset. Is that what makes him the perfect fit for that position, being the headset guy?
Yeah, so he has a great grasp for the whole defense. And so, rather than me being on that, I trust Brett that he can give information. Hey, it's 3rd and long, deep in your alignments, or, whatever. There may be some tendencies because he has a great grasp of what's going on. So he's a natural fit for it. If I have to, I can get on, but I prefer just to remove myself from some of that. And I just have a lot of confidence in him.
And early on in the season, a lot of college football teams like to rotate in numerous guys, kind of see what works in terms of backups, rotation, and all that. Is there a set number that you guys are looking at as a staff for the defense, or does it kind of go by feel?
Yeah, for me, it goes by feel. There may be times my thought process is get somebody in on the 3rd series, but let's just say it's 3 and out and 3 and out. This is my old Little League days when I played baseball. I am, it was a tradition, not a superstition, right? I'm on a roll, so I don't want to mess around with things. But if I really believe a young man needs to get out there, I will tell him before the game, you're going in on the 3rd series. And that forces me to put him in. Because once player loses trust in his coach, then it's hard to coach him hard every day. So that's when, if it's 3 and out and it's 3 and out, I have to put him in because I told him that. So, but we're going to play it by feel and see what they're doing, because this is a brand new game, brand new staff. And so we just got to feel this thing out and make sure that our eyes are right, and we'll see where it goes.
All right, that's our time.
Thank you, guys. Yep. Yeah, Chris Mack, love talking about old Chris Mack now. He was different. And it was so comforting to have him out there. I still remember his first game, UTEP. He lunges, he's playing press corner, and he is beat. And somebody up in the box says, he's beat. I said, no, he ain't. And he just could recover, finds the ball, and intercepts it. I mean, that was, even when he first got here, he didn't, when we were out at Cochise, he came late.